Aquarium MSLO, Abasana Mavana, I come up from United States, 2000. Bunko na yung ana mabona ba din medje ba a cookse NTA ni kembo ba senpan mbok susie ya cookse ba e mana ete yon di dobasi e ba ufono pe na mo isa akitemye upe mpo Christ enyo enam mpo eno basi ke afresre mo ami eke do ngomme akpanu ko di ko basi seke kworo kemme ufo basi ken kan uyo mpo akero usene dede Como no van place que saben que usan muy fuera base que en cada uno de ellos caras tenían a tan que me andino un crack que pánico y me como base que nada que no a muy que a patre usen de que a fion tío quiere me y hay cup yo un poco me tuye
Ndi tobasi e mai bo ke mention si ufa basi di como basi ku pememo ke fion June e ngoi bon ka me bo ya anye akpememo ke fion osro ke ki soit 2016 Two Fawabasi Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, Ekedara Kiban, Reverend Okonudo, Ake Kworo Kiko, Kebaha, O Wana Yoro Ke Yonyong, Ado Eti and Dibop, Amado Kondito Basi, Ebo Yaramo, Eyari de Memo Inobasi, Si I Fetse Moinie, Atonye, Pastor Tony Fon, Eke Charismatic Renewal Ministry, Ake Kworo Kiko, Kebaha, Edinam Sebasi, Eke Mere Wono, Amado Kondito Basi, Ebo Yaramo, Eda Keda. Eye ikoro basi kuwe memmo ndendi tobasi eye ngana mtimpo abi tumbo no wo kenkan kokommo Reverend Bongo do eke Christ Celebration Ministry e pastor Nakpan eke the Apostolic Church ke mention si wudi kommo e mai do kon di tobasi ebo ya mmo no basi ni yiye ne mmo si anye aya kaka iso di onmo e mai konsion si kwo enye ngai bongo kam ke mederedo ke uyo in urban blaze or combok NTA.
Amara kamukara senyen mama ta udum Emmanuel abo yariban enyuwem adi yoimo enyo enie esre kom bareka ne wora itinda rusanke ufo mo yeke ovio amara kamukara senyen eke tangami eno iban kembo kam iban senyen esere nie kwa fion akombong ngena nam no idio ke akami ban senyen eke fion chioke Amada di ke anwa e kambo ko to banquet hall ke ufo okara stadium iken kanyo e kumbo me to kambang
Akami ban stadium ake fiong June ake sa yusora di dara na akamami ayori swake ton tege ton e maini asang ikom adi toro basi e mane no ikon tensenku anwana kamukara stadium mama taudem Emmanuel Ama no basi kom kima yembom anye niega no stenyan nkorona anam no kamami asoka kaisu nyema akori bana kwa ibu mobo ya idia no bok yukara kutewo ni nam no kwa ibu akpon genda anyodo se woma
yini bi ko mo ko basi ba ko fen mai ko basi ba amen ado ko ko do ko suwana mo ko site bege other state Eko wa ye ni to ba sete neswa linie women kids on kwa ibon sete
Pastor Utebe no John Udo akero nsiki kwori ko kedi na mami anyema tang yari ba ne do mukeme adisa ake so akpaniko bare ka ne kan fon ye didion abasi e ma e bon ka me no governor nyam ye wana mo e ma ne bon e be ne didian aked e no Akwa Ibom state ke uyo Charity James
Kana afrekondo eke ni edinam usele dito yombono wo ke inara emi ambun fenufen enam nombono we eni fionko ke na ewot mbon siboy ufeni ma akombo wisdom mama du ngodi di on senta usene me ye usen adina maminko adano yakub itoyen
Usene fiong edib michaita ke fiong June iswa 1987 ebo edi on ke United Nations ko tenbono mo ke nie Kabanga adi swambanga adi miawufen ema ena mu bierebo jak mirong sesena ke dar United Nations enang amendutem adi wama ke disunu wam nom bunowo seke miawufen ami ke do takpan ntong ken dutem adi nam ya frere rimbore ni fioy banga unen bunowo merinong nam jak mewedi ong ebo ke di miawufen ke mention siusong adom podo ido nenen po kiswa 1997 Ebo di orang keminte United Nations Kembono Mo, Emainamu Biere, Aditamen to use enemy. Ndires use en afiong, edip mitio ket kafiong June Friswa, enem, atusen, Adiben tuyo nyong senowam, nom bono wase maike miofen. Akpa get to Mondina mi adiben tuyo bon seke miofere miekado, kusen afiong, edip mitio ket, kiswa 1998. Usere mie, esuenem mi, adum ba tuyo bono webo, kedi mi awufen. Adum bodo, we yemmeke baba usong don teket, ndien kedo usong ket, adibian benko. Adina mami anom bonowo ufang adibiana ket nyong tang mention sum kwase mo gbe di ong ba kusong ket meken na gbetre adimia ufen kana afredim bole tumarina me mi wori ko monia estangebo ya ekrebo to wi mi awondo de krufen kusong ke gbere do make itie ke gbere mi kuyo Wisdom Jacob kombok NTA
Kami gente berubah sen, mungkin atrezo. Masih dalam kandang itu, ni lagi kami yang kinsen tu. Ya di bawah ni, ane ni mangan kei kon makaram dong teko ba, tesong ye, ayo nak yang ibati ni, dua kansen. Thanks for joining our AM News. I am Mary and Vincent Oko, and now to details of our reports. Christians have been reminded to be in tune with the teachings of God by keeping to His commandments and serving Him with their whole hearts. These formed the thrust of messages in most of the churches visited in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, as Christians gathered to thank God on the last Sunday in June. Kenobon Place has details.
Christians gathered at various worship centers, thanked God for His sustenance throughout the month of June, and prayed for God to see them through the remaining months in the year 2016. At the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, where the church celebrated women, Reverend Okonudo, who preached on the theme, "A wise woman is a builder," charged Christians to rededicate their lives to God, for He is the source of all they have. Pastor Tony Mfon of Charismatic Renewal Ministry, who preached on Fulfill Your Purpose, charged Christians to wake up to their call as Christians wherever they find themselves and create an impact, assuring them that God will continually preserve their lives and the lives of those around them.
All Christians do work for God, they rededicate themselves unto good works.
You can fulfill purpose to such an extent that people will say, in this place there was no man like that.
Reverend Ubongudo of Christ Celebration Ministry and Pastor Nakwan of the Apostolic Church at Anafort District, in their separate messages, charged Christians to always sacrifice their time and resources to God.
There is no way that you can have an encounter with God without incurring or having a blessing.
The believers should notice that God has made us to soul. It must surely make us to live again.
Some worshippers speak on the impact of the service.
We should always create time, always to be alone with God and commune with God.
It's always a worthwhile time in the presence of God.
We have to ensure that we live in such a way that our lives impact positively upon others.
The services feature special choir renditions and prayer sessions. In Uyo, in Urban Blaze, NTA News.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Mr. Dom Emmanuel has restated his commitment to laying a strong economic foundation for the state. He stated this during a church service at Full Life Christian Center, Uyo. Government House correspondent Imoit Modo has details.
The governor said God's faithfulness has sustained Akwa Ibom State, even in the face of current economic challenges in the country. He hinted of more foreign investors that have indicated interest in the state. Governor Udom Emmanuel noted that he is laying a solid economic foundation for the state and called on the people to be patient, for it will soon yield fruits.
I just received a very good letter from the American Consulate General, a reference. He didn't even send it to me. He sent it to somebody else. You know, for Americans to write is something that is not that easy. The Consulate General gave a reference to somebody that I didn't even know. He said, if you're interested in investing in Nigeria, I think the right environment is Akwa Ibom State.
The guest preacher, Dr. Umar Pai, who preached on the theme, the benefits of the glory of God, called on the people to live upright and expect God's hands in all they do.
You will no longer be an ordinary person. If God is a teacher, you become a corporate and not monastery.
The service featured special prayers and praises in Uyo. Imo Etimodo, NTA News.
And still on religious matters, wife of Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, has called on women to imbibe the virtues of tolerance and gratitude. The governor's wife made the call at the June edition of the monthly women prayer meeting held at Government House, Uyo. Charity James has details.
The June edition of monthly women prayer meeting, which also doubled as the first anniversary of the program, featured special thanksgiving and testimonies. Wife of Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel, expressed gratitude to God for his mercies to the state and sustenance of the prayer meeting. She also enjoined Akwa Ibom women to join hands with government in its effort at making the state a destination of greatness.
God will continue to give us that spirit of love and unity, Akwa Ibom State, so that we'll be able to work together as a team.
In an exhortation, Pastor Utebeno John Udo admonished women to make righteousness their watchword and call for love and unity among them.
If you must join this move, it's a move of love. Revolution to love one another. You don't need to know me to do something for me.
Prayers were offered for the governor, the wife, and for the unity of Akwa Ibom State. In Uyo, Charity James, NTA News.
Every year, the world marks Day Against Drug Abuse. This year, stakeholders are advocating for collective effort if the society must be free of this phenomenon that has ruined the destinies of many.
Findings reveal that drug abuse is patterned use of a drug in which the user consumes the substance in amounts or without methods which are harmful to themselves. These hard drugs include narcotics, stimulants, Halcino, Cadmus, Sativa, among others. Statistics has it that most young people indulge in the abuse of drugs, which has adversely affected their contributions to their families and society at large. The day is therefore celebrated worldwide to create awareness on the harmful effects of drug abuse and by implicating drug addiction and trafficking. Some residents of Uyo comment on factors that can lead to drug abuse.
If a family background where the parents of the child is a drug addict, it can also influence the child and also make the child to want to go into drugs.
Families need to look around the economy of the country and find work for the youngest people to do.
When drug abuse is mentioned, what really comes to mind is the use of hard drugs. But medical practitioners say the abuse of regular drug is on the increase.
Sometimes these patients take overdose of drugs, sometimes they take underdose of drugs. It also leads to drug resistance. So by the time these drugs fail them when they come to the hospital, it's always a challenge for the doctors to calculate what to use, what to switch to. It's always a very big challenge.
In Akwa Ibom, there's something that is worrisome to us, and that is
the prevalence of combine, which is used in most ceremonies in Akwa Ibom. But we're trying the best we can to sensitize the people, to enlighten people against the consequences and the dangers of combining.
With the theme, Listen First, the United Nations says the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking is a collective responsibility. Inuyo Ngoziume, NTA News.
As the United Nations celebrates the 2016 International Day in support of victims of torture, the need to show love to this group of people has been stressed. Wisdom Jacob takes a look at the essence of the day.
On June 28, 1987, the United Nations, at the end of its Convention Against Torture, resolved that member nations should initiate policies aimed at supporting the welfare of victims of torture. In 1997, the United Nations General Assembly decided to mark this historic date and designated June 26 each year as the International Day in support of victims of torture. This event gives everyone a chance to unite and voice their opinions against human torture.
Torture in itself goes fundamentally against the rights of a human being to life.
In the churches, they raise funds to support those who are tortured, who may not have anything to eat.
Practical love and try to share love with them. Because even if the domestic torture, psychological torture, it affects one psyche. And it is only I believe only the church is empowered to deal both in the physical and the spiritual realm.
With the theme, Fighting Impunity, organizers maintain that torture should never be used at any time or under any circumstances, including during conflict or when national security is under threat. In Uyo, Wisdom Jacob, NTA News.
For some, the rainy season is usually awaited as it signifies a new dawn and a sign of bumper harvest, especially for farmers. But for others, it is a season to dread. Clement Barakwi visited Tabernacle Road, Basiakpan Street, among other areas, and reports that the people are usually gripped with fear whenever there is a slight change in weather.
When popular Nigerian reggae singer Fashek sang Send Down the Rain, he may not have known the effect such prayer to Mother Nature will cause some residents of Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Others may be happy that the rains are here again, but for residents of some part of Uyo metropolis, if it was possible to lobby nature not to send down the rain, they would have gladly done so. For this set of people, every cloudy weather portends danger and put their property and even lives at risk of being swept away. This is Basi Akpan Street, and this wall of Jericho-like fence is not for prevention against criminality. Rather, it is the people's own way of protecting themselves against flood waters, and in case of an overflow, some residents who can afford it have standby pumping machines.
Living with a pumping machine, without this, nobody can live here.
All fingers, they say, are not equal, and those who cannot afford any of the preventive measures are left in the mercy of the rains.
The flood has carried everything inside my bedroom. Even on top of my bed, I back all things on top of the bed. See, the flood carried up the bed.
Mom, I laughed at Abia, Frisarana, Abia. At that time, it's a for more or less of the bedroom. It's in Namor Abia. One of them walk is in it. Let me walk a more if you are a dollar. I'm in open more the door. More the other for me better the window. I remember.
At Edemakpan Street, Tabernacle Road and some sections of Oron Road, it is a story of pity and loss of revenue as many landlords no longer have tenants. NTA News Scope gathered that flooding in these areas have been like this for the past 3 years, and no one seems to know when and if the situation will be salvaged.
Then erosion control is very important, but then we should do the right thing at the right time, as we have seasonal floods.
Well, in times like this, the only prayer and expectation of the people is that Nigeria's economy will improve to enable the state government complete all works on the channelization project in the capital city. Only then will they sleep with their 2 eyes closed, rain or no rain. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Still on the flood situation, flood has devastating consequences which can affect the economy, environment, and of course the people of any community. Considering this and the fact that the rainy season is here again, Informer Ihoje in this report brings to limelight efforts of the Akwa Ibom State government in tackling this menace.
In the last few years, Nigeria suffered severe flooding in various states across the country, worst being the incidences recorded in 2013, which destroyed people's property, farmlands, claimed some lives, and rendered many homeless. In Akwa Ibom State, the story was not different, as the television screen, radio airwaves, and newspaper pages were saturated with stories of one flood disaster or the other. The state government, however, rose up to the occasion and has continued to initiate drainage and erosion control projects across the state to alleviate the sufferings of the people and to keep Akwa Ibom clean and green. From the transformation of Uran Street to the recovering and beautification of the once erosion-threatened Dominikutuk Avenue, the government finds pleasure in putting smiles on the faces of the people as it salvages the environment.
By the time we link up 2-lane, 4-lane, Tropicana to Oboridom, all the drain water in that entire axis that didn't have a discharge point will go to Oboridom River. I will guarantee you that once that thing is completed, give us another 6 months, we would have tidied up that axis of Uyo.
The Commissioner for Works, Mr. Ephraim Yayen, says plans are on to provide a lasting solution.
A major underground drain will be done from IDB through Atiku, through the back of the State Secretariat to Atana Fort, and taken out to a release point that will allow the city to be free of water.
In the course of this report, the News Scope crew beamed its searchlight on Ibesipo Assistant Local Government area to assess the effect of the drainages constructed by the government.
We used to have real stream flowing with living animals in them, but with the opening of this drainage, now that water has been channeled into a particular way. It doesn't affect people's houses. People's houses used to be soaked.
It goes a long way to help to reduce the distance the flood, because it's only that when at the instant that it's raining, that is time maybe as flow is banned, then it can slip off. Maybe before some time it will drill itself out, it will go as soon. It's really doing a big deal. It's helping.
It helps a little bit. I know.
I've lived here for the past 6 years. Okay, when we packed in newly, there was so much flood in the area. So until we had this drainage system, it has really controlled the flooding.
The people made this passionate appeal,
expecting that this is going to be covered or protected at least. Little children have been falling into it when they play around. So those are the things we are facing this way.
Trying to request from government is that Governor Udom should complete the road.
We believe that this government is doing well and we should look into it and do something about it.
While the citizenry look up to the government to put facilities in place for their benefit, government calls for prayers, patience, and more importantly, protection and preservation of existing social amenities. In Uyo, Ifeoma Ihoje, NTA News.
And for details of our news stories, you can log on to our website on www.ntachannel12u.tv. Like us on Facebook, NTA Channel 12U, and follow us on Twitter at NTA Channel 12. Now the weather prospect for today, Monday, June 27, 2016, shows that the morning period will be rainy at 23 degrees Celsius. The afternoon period will be sunny at 22 degrees Celsius, while the evening period will be cloudy at 25 degrees Celsius. And that's where we wrap it up this morning. But just remember that the responsibility of building the nation rests on the shoulders of all. Let's join hands with government to fix Nigeria. We thank you very much for being a part of our AM News. We shall be back again at 7 p.m. Do join us then. Good morning.
Yeah, I want to tell a true story. How do I start now?
There comes a time we all leave home in search of so-called green pastures. This was the case of Inyobong, who had left home for very long. For all the hustle, not too much. Until one day he met Nikki, a young rich girl who's so pretty. She said, "Nikki, come with me. I just like you, get money, whatever you want, just tell me." I'm surprised.
Now I see you shake your body, drop it to the ground, follow me if you like to see your Have you seen any poor man who drives his wife? Hey, check. Poor people don't drive their wife. And when a man is poor, he doesn't complain. When small shish enters his pocket, then he will not begin to find fault of his wife. My wife doesn't even know how to cook. Did you know she doesn't? Since we married, she has not been serving me. He didn't complain, no. Oh, if your wife does not know how to cook, employ cook now. Where is it that your wife must get that kitchen till she die? Tell yourself, this thing must. And if you say so, it will. Are you hearing me now? Make it. If you see your wife frowning every time, find out why she's frowning. Women don't frown anyhow. Every woman smiles. You have not touched the part of where she will smile. Women have different ways that make them laugh. Some women, when you buy them good clothes, they are happy. So buy her. Some, it's not clothes. If you like, give them your clothes until you touch her. So find out what it was. Just like children don't eat one particular baby milk. Some children, if you give them none, they will throw it away. You have to give them the one they like. That's why they call women baby. They don't drink the same kind of. So you too find from your wife, your baby, which kind of mix you will take. So you don't go and you heard that somebody gave his wife none.